white to play and win. This is a remarkable position. So it's Dejan Pikula against Evgeny Postny, and it's an online blitz game played in 2020. I know with blitz games, we shouldn't take them too seriously. We shouldn't analyse them too seriously. But this is a remarkable piece of calculation. Well, if white had spotted this, but in a blitz game, it was obviously too difficult. I should sort of put things in context. Black's last move was pawn to e3. I mean, black has a winning position here. These pawns just look incredible. I think queen takes g2 looks pretty good. But black played e3, and now white should be winning. Okay, are you ready? You can always pause the video if you want to have a longer look at this. But remember, it's a forcing variation that brings the win. Queen d3 check. Well, yeah, it's difficult to find a better move, actually. Now, of course, if the king goes back, then this is disastrous. So queen f5. Of course, if the queens are exchanged, then black is winning with those wonderful pawns. So queen d7. Again, it's a forced move. You have to find ways just to keep going, otherwise black wins. That threatens a checkmate here. So that's not a bad forcing move. Black hasn't got time to push pawns. And really, there's not a lot that black can do here. Queen f7. It's the only move that defends. So now, rook h6 check. So this wins the queen. Obviously, if the king goes back, then rook h7. And yeah, then that wins the queen as well. So king takes played. Queen f7. This is actually how the game went. Now, it looks like this is winning very easily for white. The rook is attacked. The bishop is attacked. In fact, rook h1 mate is threatened. And perhaps you got this far with your calculation and thought, well, it must be winning. And it is winning. However, you still need to find something very special here. Bishop takes g2 was the move that was played in the game. Now, this is where the kind of second puzzle starts. You might have got this far, but how does white win from here? I'll give you an extra moment to think things through. You have a think, I'll have a drink. Cheers. There's only one way for white to finish this one. Basically, black is threatening e2. And that's, you can't mess around with a move like that. Oh, incidentally, the bishop move, of course, prevents rook h1 mate. So queen takes rook, e2, threatening to take here, threatening to get another queen. Queen takes e6, check. King h5. This is actually how the game went. And here white messed up. I mean, in a blitz game, you're just sort of, I suppose, you haven't got time to think things through. So let me show you what happened in the blitz game. Queen f7 check. Remarkably, after this move, black is winning. White doesn't even have a draw by perpetual. This is how the game went here. Queen d3. I'm afraid these checks weren't good enough. After bishop f3, black wins and there's a threat to take here. And if the rook moves, then, well, e1 queen. So this happened. e6 takes. e7. Bishop h5. Stop the e-pawn from queening, and on the next turn, black gets a queen. That was the end of the game. Black won. But let's come back to this position. Now, If I tell you that white is winning from here, then I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So how is white winning? There's only one way. Rook h1 check. Forcing bishop takes rook. Queen h3 check. King goes back to g6. Of course, white has a draw here, but there is a win. Queen d3 check. The king moves and queen takes that important pawn on e2. Then the f2 pawn is going to drop, and that's easy for white. Wow. If you manage to see that entire sequence from this point, well, congratulations. I think it's more likely that perhaps you got to this point and thought this was winning, and it is. But yeah, after this move, you would need to think again, basically. Just a breathtaking finish. I do really like that. Rook h1 check, forcing the win, like that. There you go. If you want to see the whole game, then do check out the link to chesspuzzle.net. And thanks for watching.